Hello, my name is Nathan Gould, and in today's video I want to talk about some further tools that we have available to us for grouping and sorting data in LAC Queries. So in the previous video, we looked at the tools that we have within the query wizard that allow us to sort based on ascending or descending, allow us to group data of the same type into different files, and then also allow us to set a very simple default range. In today's video, we're going to look at some slightly more advanced ranges, and we're going to set them up in the dialog and also in the structure related to the report. So let's go into finance and operations and see how that works. So we've got our same customer list report here, and if we just go to setup and run report, click OK, we can see we've got the same output as before. There's no ranges or anything set up on this, it's just all of our data. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our dialog setup and set a default range in there. So we go to setup, and then underneath where we were working before in the query wizard, we're going to go into dialog setup. And from within here, we're going to go to default range. We'll leave this default one here, and we're going to add a new one. We've only got one table to worry about here because there's only one table in our query. So we're going to leave that as it is. And I'm going to select my customer group field. Customer group. And for the range, I'm going to select customer group 30. And the reason why we have this tool in the default ranges here is that it's a little bit more developed than the range that we can set in the query wizard, because we have our expression editor here. And what this allows us to do is, rather than just select absolute values, we have all of these different operators on the left-hand side. So we can do if the value is greater than 0 but less than 50, or greater than 50 but less than 100. We can do criteria based on languages, dates, locations, all sorts of different things. So basically what we have in here is a way of doing complex functions that allow us to set the range. But for now, we're just going to leave it at 30. So we click OK, and OK again. And then go to setup, run our report. And now when we see the report come out, it should just contain the information for customer group 30. So that's the first thing we wanted to look at, setting up a range on the dialog setup. So let's go into there and just remove that for now. So into our default ranges, I'm going to remove my customer group one. And OK. So we'll just run that again to prove that it's gone. And we're back to where we started. So the next thing we're going to do is, rather than working from within the dialog setup here, we're going to go into the structure of the report itself by clicking on this blue link. I'm going to go into our customer table, and we can see that we've got a condition at the top here, a condition that defines when all of these things run. And we're going to go to code, and I'm going to click on edit. And here's one that I made before. So it's the same functionality that we had in our dialog setup. In our expression definition, we've said where our customer table, customer group equals 30. And the reason why this is really useful is because it actually only applies to this node of the XML. We're applying this condition to just these elements, rather than saying it's for the whole query or for everything in the dialog setup. So this is just another option that we've got, is adding some code into the structure of the report. One thing to bear in mind is that for complicated reports, there is a performance price to pay for editing the structure of the report. So it's not recommended that you use this for all of your different solutions, but it's useful to know that it's there. So if we save that, and then we go back and go to setup and run report again, now we can see again, we're filtered for our customer group 30. So that's two more options that we've got for managing the data in our Lasernet queries: the range in the dialog, which works for everything, or the range in the report structure, which we can apply to individual nodes of the XML.